Hi and welcome to Homesales, your next move. I'm Bradley Beer and I'm really enjoying bringing you this weekly dose of your property market update. If you're an investor, a buyer or just want to keep up to date with the property scene in general, you'll find all you need on this show. We've got another great lineup in store for you tonight, coming up on this episode. Tara Bradbury is back and she has the latest property news and auction roundup. We'll chat with Tony Cope from Risk Advisory Services, a veteran of the insurance industry, on key things he's seeing in the insurance market. And our home sales buyer toolkit this week has the BMT Tax Depreciation Calculator. Let's start the way we always start, and that's with Tara and the latest property news.
Thanks, Brad. In this episode, we learn why prices keep falling, an Adelaide suburb that is performing significantly well, and new product hits the market. Now to our first story. Amid the doom and gloom of the Sydney slowdown, homeowners have been given some relief with a new report claiming the trend of falling house prices will only last till the federal election next year. A new report warns that home seekers will only have until early next year to capitalise on falling prices and improved opportunities to get a bargain. The current downturn would be temporary because next year's federal election and the end of the Banking Royal Commission would renew demand for property, the research has showed. This would replace the current buyer's market with a more balanced one, where sellers could be more insistent of their prices without harming their sale of prospects. Unexpected Adelaide suburb is one of the nation's most sought after, with property buyers. House hunters are looking for the hills in particular as Adelaide emerges as one of the nation's top property markets. The Property Outlook report released by REA has Crafers West as the nation's third most searched for suburb behind South Hobart and Battery Point in Tasmania. Another South Australian suburb, Aldersgate, became the number 5. Its success mirrored in CoreLogic data, which shows Adelaide dwelling rose by 0.5% over the 3 months to the end of August, the highest increase recorded for any capital city. A new service has launched, which allows users to buy and sell property, as well as to consult with an agent and advisors. Available as an online platform app, CoHub's new dream boards allow for users to group online property listings for multiple properties, websites into places and discuss with them their friends and family as well as agents of the properties in real time. The Dream Board feature intends to combine property listing searches and discussions relevant to the properties, the one place rather than fragmenting the process across different property websites, texting and other social media platforms. The updated platform will also allow real estate agents and buyers agents to create public boards, public collections, property listings online and hire specific properties. David Dawson, the founder and CEO of CoHub, said the social media network feature became an identifying common pain point for buying property, stress fatigue and communication frustration in this area. Well, that's all from me, Brad. Thanks for tuning in to the latest property news and I'll see you next week.
As a property owner, correctly insured properties is a key piece that needs to be looked after properly. Our next guest, Tony Cope from Risk Advisory Services, has over 20 years' experience in the insurance industry. He shares some of his insights into the current insurance market. Welcome, Tony.
Brad, thank you. Nice to be here.
Tell me a little bit about Risk Advisory Services.
Risk Advisory Services was set up 11 years ago. The best way to think about it is the buyer's advocate in the insurance industry. So we act for insureds and make sure that they get the best value for money from insurance brokers and insurers. So we act only for insureds.
So Tony, to start, maybe just explain a little bit of the difference around the type of products that a property investor specifically will buy in the insurance game.
Yeah, okay. So there are really 4 key products. The first product is relating to tenant risk, so often called a landlord insurance policy. So anything a tenant does that might result in a bad outcome, landlord insurance policy would cover that. The second one would be a home and contents policy, so that is covering the property itself and the contents. And then the third one would be a combined policy, which is 1 and 2 together, and the fourth would be a strata policy, which the strata policy covers the common areas and common parts of a strata property.
And that strata, specifically, a lot of people think, well, we've got to ensure, it's fairly simple. If the house burns down, people kind of understand that we need to rebuild that. But that strata insurance actually covers most of the building in those situations.
It does. And so the strata insurance is something that needs to be purchased and is usually purchased by the strata manager. But it doesn't mean that landlord insurance and home and contents insurance isn't required for those properties, because it is.
I guess the birth of BMT insurance is off the back of the fact that we're quantity surveyors, and quantity surveyors estimate construction costs. And the industry and insurance, and when we met, we had a lot of these discussions about the fact that insurance companies ask the buyer or the property owner how much to insure that property for. And at BMT, we're quantity surveyors that estimate construction costs, so we've got firstly a lot of data around construction costs, but we can actually put the real and correct numbers on that construction or reconstruction cost. So maybe tell me a bit about your thoughts on that from the past and how we came together with that.
When you're buying a home and contents policy, whether you're a property investor or an owner-occupier, the first thing that the insurance company asks you to do is really come up with a guess. How much will it cost to rebuild this property? What is the replacement cost of this property? Now, for your average property investor or homeowner, that really is a pretty wild guess. And at the moment, the insurance industry doesn't really provide much guidance to that at all. Some brokers provide a little bit of guidance, some insurers and some really, and probably they're the more expensive end of the product suite, will provide a bit of guidance. But the vast majority of products provide no guidance. And that means you've got to come up with a guess that says, this is how much it's going to cost to replace the property, and this is how much our contents are worth. Now, the average person out there doesn't really have a clue about that. So I just call it the wild guess, because I think it is a wild guess. And the attraction to BMT insurance is that being able to link the construction and replacement cost information that you have in your database, I think is an incredibly valuable thing to be able to compare that to the wild guess, because it stops being a wild guess and starts being something that actually is meaningful. So, and a lot of people look at insurance as a real cost-related issue. The key to it, though, is making sure the risk matches the cover. So a lot of people go, gee, what was the price of it? Was it cheaper? When in fact the risk and cover match is the most important thing. And I think we'll talk about the Royal Commission in a minute, but some of the things that came out of the Royal Commission, it was a really important factor in the fact that a lot of people were underinsured and actually had the risk and cover match just didn't exist.
And having come and look, I've been a property investor for 15 odd years, so I've had insurance policies and then coming onto the other side and us being an actual insurance broker, looking at the different products that do exist and what they do and don't cover you for, aside from the fact that, they used to ask me how much to insure it for, and I had a pretty good idea because I'm a quantity surveyor, but often, obviously the insured doesn't have the type of idea I do, and seeing the vast difference in what you're covered and not covered for was really surprising to me, having been on that journey for the last couple of years.
Yeah, the products that are available are incredibly different. So you can buy an off-the-shelf product, really cheap as chip product, and this risk and cover match issue will be horrible. I mean, it'll be in a situation where if there is an event, if there is a significant claim, we've seen plenty of examples of this where the claim payment that's ultimately paid might be half the value of the property. So someone's actually trying to rebuild a property and the cheque that they get from insurance is half the value of it, so they can't even rebuild their home. And I think we saw some of that coming out of the Royal Commission, but and some of the case studies that happened. I mean, I also think that some of the devastating effects of this whole underinsurance issue or exclusions mean that the people have focused on cheapest price rather than risk and cover match. And I think, drawing it back to the Royal Commission, a lot of information was supplied out of that. And even the Insurance Council of Australia, when they were talking about it, they talked about the fact that people didn't look at insurance seriously. They just looked at it as a commodity. It's the cheapest price. Let's just buy the cheapest price. And I think even the way it's being sold as this is cheaper than that, so buy this, when in fact the product quality is such a crucial issue that you really do need to. And I think when we finally get to the results of the Royal Commission, I think that'll change. But that's product quality is critical.
So, a fairly highly regulated type industry, but it seems to be something that has been able to move around the regulation and not operate in the way I suppose it should. So some of the other, I guess, a few of the little key points that you've seen out of the Royal Commission that's coming in the insurance industry?
Yeah, well, you made the comment there about being highly regulated. I think there is a perception out there that it is highly regulated, but in fact, what came out of the Royal Commission was a real spotlight on the fact that it's self-regulated. So, insurers have their own code of conduct, and the code of conduct was put on an absolute spotlight on the code of conduct, and I think it was found wanting. And what I expect to come from that is self-regulation in the insurance industry will cease. And so we'll end up having proper regulation, and I can see also a time where proper regulation also means rather than having a suite of 500 different products, there will be some common terminology. There won't be the loopholes that exist at the moment. So there'll be more common products and less ways of weaseling out of claims. And some of those case studies that were presented in the Royal Commission, which I'm sure anyone who is in the insurance industry and spent any time in the insurance industry found very, very difficult to watch. But those case studies, I think, really shone a light on how bad the industry is operating at the moment, and how easy it is to have an incredibly bad experience.
When you're looking to buy a property, there's a lot to consider. PropCalc, the new tool from homesales.com.au, can help. This one-of-a-kind research tool allows you to input purchase costs as well as ongoing expenses, so you can accurately calculate how much it will cost to own your property. Plus, you can upload photos and notes about multiple properties and compare property results to make an informed purchase decision. All this information moves seamlessly from your desktop to the app, so you have all the information you need on the go. Use homesales.com.au and our one-of-a-kind tool PropCalc to access the most comprehensive property data on the market. homesales.com.au, your next move.
If you're ready to start or continue building an investment property portfolio, then you should know this. Almost all property investment advisors today will either also sell you a property, gaining huge commissions for doing so, or act to buy one for you with a hefty fee included. This can set you back years as you struggle to regain the equity that those fees cut into. Destiny is different. For a fraction of the cost to get a buyer's agent to buy you a single property, my company Destiny can help you build an entire portfolio, meaning you can build equity a lot sooner.
To find out more, go to destiny.com.au and click on What We Offer, or call us on 1300 My Destiny.
Destiny, helping Australian property investors for more than 23 years.
Now let's take a look at another great tool that Homesales and BMT have to offer for you if you're thinking about investing in a property. Many properties come to us with deductions which are on paper only, and it can be hard to work out on your own just what these might be. Having these kind of deductions can make a difference between which property you end up choosing, because some properties will give you many more deductions than others. This calculator helps you to estimate the likely depreciation deductions claimable for all types of properties and helps you to work out which ones might give you the best bottom line cash flow. Available online or as an app, the BMT Tax Depreciation Calculator lets you choose the property type and the year it was built, as well as the standard of fixtures and fittings. Then it gives you a guidance as to how much you might expect to be able to claim in depreciation in your tax return each year. It's definitely an important tool for anyone involved in property investing. It's renowned for its accuracy and provides a genuine insight into the potential cash returns you could expect from an investment property. Download it now from the App Store or Google Play, or visit the BMT website, bmtqs.com.au, where you can just use it directly. That's the show for now. If you would like access to the latest tools for property investors, or just check out our website and find your next property, go to homesales.com.au or follow us on social media accounts Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn. Keep watching My Property TV channel for all of the most innovative and leading property shows, all free to you and available to watch on demand. Until next time, I'm Brad Beer. Have a great week.